Everyone. I hope I'm audible. Please show any reaction, and I hope you're able to see my screen too, the PPT. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Right. So without wasting any more time, I think we should start the session, and those students who want to join will join in between, right? Okay. So a very good morning to all of you. And first of all, I want to thank all of you that you're here. You have taken out your precious time to attend this session. And I commit that your time, your moments will not be wasted. After the session, you'll truly have some major takeaways, you'll have some major light bulb moments, and that is my promise to you, right? So, of course, this session is about just to set the context. This session has been conducted to understand because 2 days back we got the mark sheet, right? The results were out last week, but then on Monday the mark sheets were released for prelims qualified students also and prelims failed, right? So then in that scenario, I understand that when you see the mark sheet, be it prelims or mains, if you have written mains, of course, your mains mark sheet, or for that scenario, like I would say in any stage, any case, once you see your marks, you tend to get demotivated, you feel dejected, you feel that it's not possible because of course the expectations were on a different level, but then the mark sheets, when they show you the real picture that this is what you have actually scored in the exam, because for the past 1 year what you have been doing is you have been assuming that this is your marks based on the different coachings answer keys, right? But then when you actually see the mark sheet, especially for the prelims, you realize that there's a lot of work to do, right? So in this scenario, understanding that what can be done, we still have time, though of course it's not one exactly 1 month, but yes, we do have time. And I feel that things can be done, things can be improved in these next 24 days, right? So let's start with the aspect that what is your current state? Because unless until we identify that what are the doubts and issues that have propped up post seeing your marks, then we can't solve it, right? Unless until we see that issue, we realize, we give a name to it, we can't provide solution to it, right? So this is what you need to understand, that what is your current state. And I'm going to consider every category of student who has given last year's attempt, one who has not been able to qualify prelims, one who has given mains, one who couldn't get the interview call, and even those who got the interview call, cleared all three stages, but couldn't get the rank, right? So, in that scenario, we have to first understand the current state. So, yes, the first doubt, and the moment the mark sheets were released, I was bombarded with many text messages from you all. And that is why I understand that this session could have been a post too. But I feel, and I've always been told, that a mentor's energy can really boost the motivation levels of the student. And that energy cannot be given out through a text or through a post, right? So I wanted to conduct this session. It was planned for yesterday evening, but then I wanted to take my time because there were many students who were not able to access the mark sheets. And I wanted to just gather my thoughts so that I make this session worthwhile. Okay. So, yes, coming to the present moment, that after seeing your marks, you don't think that you have a good chance in 2025. Now, that's real. That's a real concern. I'm not saying that you don't stand a chance, but that's a very nice concern to have because then you're being realistic. You're being realistic about your preparation. But then I would say, what are the other options? You want to skip this attempt? You want to go for 2026? I feel the problem with 26 attempt is not that it's just 1 year away. It's actually that even if you qualify, even if you do everything which is best possible for the attempt in 2026, your actual results, like the final rank will come in 2027. And now sitting in 2025, 2 years down the lane, what's going to happen, what geopolitical situations we'll be in, what scenario will be there for UPSC, how difficult or competitive it will become more as compared to the previous years, what challenges you will face. It could be personal, it could be that your father is getting retired and he wants you to settle down as quickly as possible. So all of, various factors. And even if you don't have these things in mind, you're like, a young student, 23, 24, maybe, that around like, less than 25 years of age. And you're thinking that maybe I shouldn't take this chance. I would say that don't take the call right now when you're influenced after seeing your mark sheet. At this point of time, everything looks bleak, everything looks undoable, right? So in this scenario, what we need to do is that please keep on studying. 26 attempt, we will take a call later on, in the sense that at this point of time, please focus on 2025 attempt. 2026, just like I told you, the actual results, the entire process will continue till 2027, and that will be too late. So I think whatever resources, whatever preparation you have right now, this is the right time to go for it. This is the right time to actually stop, take your preparation, see the status of your preparation, and then maybe a little bit course correct, not exactly a huge change, but little bit focus and maybe increasing some focus on PYQs. I'll be discussing that. I'm just trying to set the context. And in that way, a little bit of course correction might give you that extra advantage. Right. So for me, frankly, 2026, when you're just 1 month away from 2025 attempt, I don't think so. This is a good time to take that call. If you want to take a call, if you have limited number of attempts, if you think that maybe yes, I have the money, resources, my financial stability is, confirmed, my parents are ready to give me another chance, and maybe I can sustain myself for one more year. There are numerous factors to be taken into account, even your mental and physical health state. So if you think that you can sit and study for one more year and wait for your 2026 attempt, it's okay. But at this point of time, I think most of the students, they are suitable for the 2025 attempt itself. So please remove this doubt. If you want to take a call, I'm going to give you a date. Please take a call around 15 to 18th, 1 week before your exam. Then you take a call that you need to skip or not. And I hope you all are aware that unless until you, if you have filled the form, of course, every one of you have filled the form, right? So your attempt won't be counted when you fill the form. It will be counted when you sign the attendance sheet on that particular day. So even if you have filled the form and 1 week before the exam, you take a very I would say pragmatic call. You have thought out on all these options available to you. You have taken stock of all these situations, your mental physical health, your family support, your financial standing, how you'll be able to sustain yourself for 1 year. Do you have some backup or any other exam that you want to appear for? Meanwhile, considering all those factors, you can take a call. But I feel if you're attending today's session, you are mostly here for 2025 attempt, and I want to applaud you for that. I want to applaud you for your courage. Be courageous. Don't give up hope. Don't have a, defeating, or don't accept self defeat at this point of time, because it's very natural that whenever you see your mark sheet, you feel that you're not made for this exam. This exam is not doable for you. You're totally lacking in many factors. All those limiting beliefs start cropping up, which is very, very, I would say, uh, true, and it's genuine to have those doubts, right? And also, I got a student told me that, she was able to like talk to ChatGPT, and, she stated her entire preparation journey and asked that should she give the attempt for 2025? And the ChatGPT asked her to skip and appear for 2026, like prepare for 26. See, we need to understand that it's good to have ChatGPT support in our life, but this call of skipping the attempt cannot be delegated to an AI. It cannot be delegated to any other person for that matter. It cannot be delegated to your parents taking the call for you. It cannot be delegated to your siblings or friends. You have to take the call. And I would suggest that post this session, please sit down, whatever points and aspects I'll be discussing today, ponder over that, and then whatever you decide, that is a good call to take, because you have considered all the factors. Don't just be influenced by your mark sheet. See, we have seen so many cases, so many instances of toppers, right? They have not been able to qualify the earlier attempts. They were not even to qualify CSAT for that matter. And in one particular year, just in that consecutive attempt, they were able to qualify, they were able to get ranks also. So, in a way, we can change our story. Please focus on that. We still have good 24 days, and I believe you can do a lot more in 24 days if you first remove the negative beliefs, negative limiting beliefs that you have, that you can't do this exam or this exam is not for you. Okay, because you have been studying. It's just that you have just came across an obstacle called or a hurdle called as mark sheet, right? It has just given you a real picture that what happened last year. But last year is same as this year? No, where it is written? 2025 is way different from 2024, right? Because fresh attempt, fresh approach, at least if I would say what new is there in this attempt is that you have learned. If you were not practicing CSAT last time, if you were not practicing FLTs last time, if you had not covered your previous year questions last time, I hope this time you're working on that. And if you're working on those all factors which you did not consider last time, you're already 10 steps ahead. So 2025 is not repetition of 2024 for that matter. To be very frank and straightforward on this. Okay. Then, of course, if you have, prelims qualified and you wrote your mains and your mains marks are very low and you don't know what happened and you feel that because prelims, of course, you have to write means, then of course you have to cross the first, stage of prelims, right? So then you're altogether thinking not from prelims perspective, but from your mains perspective that, yes, I'll be able to qualify prelims, but what about if I'm not mains ready and within 90 days, I cannot improve or cannot get a jump of 200 marks? I'll not get an interview call. So I'll tell you there are, steps because if you feel that you can, take a skip or, yeah, you can skip this year's attempt and in 1 year you're going to sit and prepare very nicely. These are just, dreams and illusion that you're telling yourself because yes it looks like you have an year's time but I have seen so many students wasting time till October November and then getting into their mains preparation and then preparing their optional till February, then again prelims gets compromised and then prelims doesn't get qualified. So what did you do even if you take a a year's gap? So even if you're worried about mains, we still can do something about it. What we can do, I'll just touch briefly in the today's session, but then majorly just after we complete our prelims exam, I will be touching upon that aspect. Okay, in detail, that what should be your strategy, what areas to focus, how you can improve your scores, how you can take a jump. There have been instances, it's not that I'm saying without proof, you have numerous toppers, you have numerous, rank holders telling you about the same thing that they have been able to increase their marks by doing specific things. What are those specific things? Of course, a detailed session will be post prelims. Today, I'll just touch upon the basic idea just to tell you that it is doable, just to convince you that it's doable. And for people who are thinking about prelims only, that I have not been able to qualify prelims, let's start the focus, let's start the discussion that it is 100% doable. You can qualify. It's just matter of few more correct questions. But before that, I want to work upon your mindset because see, I need you to understand this aspect that this exam is not testing your knowledge or intelligence or IQ for that matter. Please understand this aspect. This exam coveted by so many people appeared for like so many people appear for this exam. It's not testing your IQ. It's not testing how much you can prepare, how much you can read everything or know everything under the sun. It's about your mindset that I need to do the best and how much accountable I take myself for this decision. UPSC preparation is not just a jobs, preparation. It's a preparation which is going to change your personality, which is going to change your mindset. I'll tell you my own example. I used to be a very impulsive person. I used to be very impatient. Like, standing in a queue used to be such a big thing for me. I used to get irritated, angry. I remember in my foundation, course when I started preparing for UPSC. So the first, foundation course that I did, they used to, make us stand in long queues before they opened the class. And I used to get so much impatient. I literally used to shout, or I would say maybe, just get angry at the person that why you're making us wait. The class is empty, let us in, right? A very small example that I'm giving you from my life. And now, I've changed as a person. Of course, I would not say that now the impatience is not there, but yes, I've improved a lot. And the only credit goes to UPSC because it taught me that you cannot be impulsive, you cannot be impatient. Certain aspects requires patience in life. You need to keep on doing your work in disciplined manner. Right? It's not that going to do work in just 2 months and expect to clear prelims. Many students, they sort of mistake in that, but I'm not going to touch upon that aspect. The first mindset shift that I want you to have is that please take 100% responsibility for whatever is coming in front of you. It could be your mark sheet, it could be not qualifying the exam, it could be your failed friendships. It could be anything. It could be even your failed attempt at dieting or maybe exercising or maintaining a discipline, lifestyle. So, what do you mean by 100% responsibility? See, as a human, we have a very natural tendency to blame. And even I used to do that. Frankly, I am no saint, I am no monk. Okay. But I'm working upon myself. I call myself work in progress, and I've come a long way, but there's also a long way to go. So, in a way, maybe I'm at the 100th milestone in my life. Maybe I've covered 100 kilometers in my journey, and maybe you have covered 2025, right? Or maybe the 50th, right? So, there's a difference between my journey where I am and where you are. But I can tell you that the last, these 50 kilometers that you have to cover, if I mentor you, if I guide you, if I tell you what better you can do, these 50 kilometers distance that you will cover will be easy for you. The life need not be difficult, right? So how do you make your life easy? First of all, you take 100% responsibility. Stop blaming others. It could be anything. Especially, let's focus on, that you have not been able to qualify last year or your marks were less. It could be anything that, as a normal human nature, is to blame on external factors. We blame the coaching, we blame the institutes, we blame the faculties, we blame the mentors, we also blame test series, we blame our family for not being supportive enough, we blame our boyfriends, our girlfriends, because maybe they were not supportive just a week before the exam. They were fighting with us, we couldn't focus. It could be anything. It could be even your flatmate who's not supportive, who she or he is just fighting with you, or maybe just creating issues in your life, or any other circumstance. It could be your health issue, it could be mental issues, it could be that you have anxiety issues, you have panic attacks, it could be anything, right? But then, yes, those factors might have a role to play. But then, don't you think so? You are allowing those factors to take control of your life. Those external factors, they are controlling your life because you are letting them control your life. If I know that my partner, or if my friends, or if my family, if my my mentor also is not doing their job, am I doing my job honestly? Am I being consistent? Am I being disciplined? Can I say no? Can I have some strict boundaries? So what does 100% responsibility means? That whatever happens in your life, you take the accountability upon yourself. You take the responsibility upon yourself. That I am responsible that somebody else was able to waste my time. I gave them the permission to waste my time, to drain out my energy. You need to start understanding this concept. And this concept is not just applicable for UPSC, it's applicable for life. I have a very small social circle at this point of time. Why? Because my path, my journey, my experiences don't match up with the friends I used to have. I'm at a completely different mindset. I'm not saying that I'm superior to them. I'm just saying that my mindset has become very different. So I have very limited social circle. Even with my family, I give them time, but I give them time as per my availability. If there is some responsibility, or I would say responsibility of as a personal life, I do that, but then I don't let it affect me. And I'm still telling you, I'm no perfect person, I'm just work in progress. But with this work, I'm trying to guide you, because as a mentor, that is my job, that is my duty, to tell you what best you can do. right? And we need to understand this one particular equation or formula, which is event plus response is equal to outcome. You can't control the events. Can you control if any war is going to break out? We all know what happened in Pahalgam, and what are the things which are happening. You do understand the India's actions and all that, and what's going to happen, and even the entire global situation is disturbed. Do you have control over that? No, no, my exam is coming on 25th May. You can't conduct a war. Oh, Russia, Ukraine, stop, fighting, or maybe XYZ, stop fighting. Oh, Pahalgam shouldn't have happened. I have an exam in 1 month. Can you control the external events? Can you control if there's a water shortage in your house? Can you control if there's an electricity outage in your house? No, you can't. What you can control is maybe prepare your mind that it might be a possibility that I could have a water shortage. So maybe because the summer months are here, so you start storing water in big buckets, right? Or if there's an anticipation that there could be electricity outage because the load is always there due to over usage of ACs and all. So yes, you will be prepared that, okay, let me have some backup, a power backup, or maybe let me prepare some, have some at least basic candles that if I want to study in night, I should not be lying, and I should not be then getting up to go and buy the candle. These are just small examples that I'm trying to tell you, that please anticipate what are the things that can irritate you, that can maybe hamper, your productivity, that can maybe impact your discipline, that can impact your studies, and accordingly modify your response. Don't get irritated. Don't let that external factor have control over you. Control your reactions and make them a response. Reaction is that what is impulsive. Somebody did something, like, if somebody is just pinching me, I'll just, like take a step back. So that is the reactive thing. That is the, reactive thing of my body. But then, well, how thought out responses can stop me or can actually help me from not reacting or letting the external event drain my energy, right? So this is what you need to understand, and it can help you change the outcome. So how, that was a real question, right? This is not just motivation, talk. I'm trying to tell you that with this formula, what you can choose to do. So actually, the focus is on prelims. So whatever events are coming across you, you need to modify, tweak your response to it, and then you'll have a favorable outcome. Your desired outcome is what? To clear the cutoff. And if it is 95, it is 87, it is 75, 23, we had 75 cutoff. In, 24, you had this 87 point something as cutoff. In maybe other years, it could be 90, also 92. Some years it was 88. So depending on whatever is the cutoff, you are always staying some marks, at least 5 to 10 marks above the margin, above the cutoff, so that you're ensured that your outcome is positive. You are qualifying prelims, right? So first of all, start controlling the response. Take 100% responsibility. Why I'm emphasizing on this? Because you will face a lot of things happening in your life, which you have no control. You can't anticipate future, right? You can't know what's going to happen even in one next hour, right? So you need to just control the response that whatever happens, I will not let anything external affect my internal peace or, internal state of mind. And accordingly, I will go for the desired outcome. Right? Makes sense? Okay. So please work on this. If you want to remind, because I don't want you कि आज, ये सुना, पढ़ा और भूल गए. Maybe just, on a sticky note, you must be having that, or any diary planner, any page. Please write this down. 100% responsibility. Okay. And E plus R is equal to O. That means the events we can't control. We can control the response. And with that coming out together, we can have the changed outcome. Last year, we didn't qualify. This year, we can qualify if we are laser focused on what we want. What are the things that are disturbing us? If it can be removed, please remove it. If it cannot be dealt right now, please ignore it. Learn to ignore certain things. Learn to ignore certain, people. Learn to ignore external events which are happening. Right. So in this way, you can change the outcome. That's the first thing. First, the mental mindset needs to be fixed, that you have the capability to change the outcome. You have the capability to qualify the CS prelims, even if you are not able to qualify in the past attempts. Fresh year, fresh attempt, fresh question paper, right? So why not this year we are going to qualify? Change that negative story to a positive one. Every time you caught yourself, or you have observed that you're thinking a negative thing, please change that into a positive story. From no, it can be yes anytime, but you have the power to change that no from yes. Realize your power, work on that, be disciplined. Okay. Now let's move on to the aspect of that. What are the mindset shifts that are required in reality? So, first of all, yes, marks are important, but they are just feedback. They don't decide your identity. They don't decide your confidence. They don't decide that what can be or cannot be done in future, right? So in a way, yes, these are just feedback. They're telling you that, okay, if you're 10 marks beyond the cutoff of last year, that means you have to just not think about those 10 marks. There is a possibility to get 20 marks more of what you have scored. Or if you're 20 marks, below the cutoff, you have 30 marks possibility. So just think like that, that what more can be done. Don't operate from the cutoff. Don't operate from bare minimum. Do your best. Do whatever is possible for you, right? So take that as a feedback, but it doesn't decide. And these marks, I'm not just speaking from UPSC mark sheet perspective, but I'm also speaking from your mocks perspective. I get every day, post XYZ coachings, open mocks and this mock and Saturday, Sundays, and I keep on getting messages. I did not score. I did not, do this, or maybe, will I be able to qualify this year's? The mock FLTs, which are conducted by various coaching institutes, they don't decide your actual UPSC marks. There have been instances, there have been proofs where people were not able to score in the coaching institute's marks, but they were able to qualify prelims. Use them as feedback that, okay, where, which area I could have done better. Did I do some silly mistake? There was a revision gap, there was a lack of knowledge gap. What was there? What better could have done? Every post FLT, you should analyze, sit with that paper and see that what better could have been done. Don't just take it as that, okay, this is something that even from the knowledge gap perspective, these mock FLTs are designed to, get you into panic mode. You're not supposed to know every question and every answer, everything under the sun. So you should be able to distinguish that, okay, this is from my static syllabus. I should have been able to solve this question. Or maybe this even goes beyond the static syllabus. It looks like a topic which is picked up from static syllabus, but the way the statements and all that were framed, it's not written in my static, book. So maybe it could be a mix of static plus current affairs based question. It could be just logic, plain logic, right? So you need to understand and take these FLTs in this perspective. Don't take the marks that you're getting as definitive. Okay. If not something, I can give you a guarantee that in actual UPSC, you're going to score minimum 5 to 10 marks beyond the marks that you're getting in the mocks. इतना तो होता ही है. +5, +10 marks, increment everybody sees when they actually go for UPSC. But of course, that could not be sufficient. So you need to see that where you're lacking, right? Then failing in prelims or mains doesn't mean that the goal is lost. UPSC gives you chance. You have attempts. Please take it that it's a fresh attempt, fresh approach, and I can make from no to yes. This attempt is one that can make the no part in my life with respect to UPSC and career into yes, right? So please emphasize on that. Please, focus on that. I hope everybody's with me, right? Then you need to detach your self-worth from result. Okay. That means if UPSC, you feel that it's not doable, that doesn't mean that you can't do anything in life. Though I don't want to emphasize on this thing at this point of time, I'm not asking you to have backups or prepare your backups, but I'm just trying to tell you that don't be over pressurized on the day of the exam. There are many students who over pressurize, over stress themselves out. They're not able to sleep, the night before the exam. And then they feel so groggy that they commit silly mistakes. Every year I get 2, 3 students minimum who tell me that the last night we couldn't sleep and maybe first hour, went fine, but then 10:30 to 11:30, my mind was shut. CSAT paper, my mind was shut. I couldn't perform to my best. So you have to understand that there are options, there is life beyond UPSC and apart from UPSC. But yes, because in 1 month's time you have your exam, that is why the focus has to be there, right? Because you can't take it for granted. This is not an exam which can be just studied for last 2 weeks and you can crack the exam. It's not your semester exams of college and graduation days. Like one night before you study and you'll crack the exam, right? So, but then you need to understand this aspect that the results don't decide your standing in society. It might appear like that. Your family, your relatives might judge you for that. But frankly, few years down the line, relatives to वैसे भी out of the picture हो जाते हैं. And family also, they just want you to settle and have a good career. It could be through IAS, IPS, IFS. It could be through any other thing. They just want to see you settled and happy. Why settle? Because they understand that and to live in society, to live, in today's world, you need money. You need a career. You need a job. That's the only thing. Don't pressurize yourself that UPSC is the only thing to prove yourself. No, I'm the living example for that matter. Because I was also in your shoes where I used to think that यूपीएससी के बिना तो कुछ है ही नहीं जिंदगी में. Like, मतलब यूपीएससी ही है. Every day, every moment, it was just devoted to UPSC. And mind you, it was not just me, revolving my life around UPSC. I made my family's life revolve around UPSC. Oh, my exam is coming up. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. And this is how I was just, making them panic and be anxious also. So I need to be, safe in my thought process that okay, I am pursuing a desire, a dream of becoming an IS officer or be a civil servant to crack UPSC. But that is not, if I don't do it, that's not the end of life or end of anything. People who have not been able to qualify have been able to do much, much better in their life. Maybe their life journey, their life path, their life goal is something else. And through other things, they are realizing that goal, right? Maybe I was supposed to be a mentor because if I would have become something, I would have just become an IS officer, some one rank, something doing in district. But then when I'm a mentor, I can help many students get ranks. I think one rank versus many ranks is what is, quite better, right? So maybe I could have, and I know myself, like I know that if I would have gotten a rank, I would have just got into my district and just done some bare minimum job because I would have been so much caught up with the responsibilities of being a DM or whatever, right? But then this is my life goal. And somebody did tell me that I will not get guidance, but that is my life part to give guidance to others. And I'm doing good. I feel I'm doing good. I feel very satisfied with what I do. I sleep peacefully. And I've earned also for that matter. Whatever investment I did during my preparation, I even survived on my father's pension money. I ate up his savings. Everything was returned. I recovered every investment. So please don't worry about, but yes, you need to understand that when you over pressurize yourself, you over stress yourself, then everything starts going haywire. Everything becomes chaotic because you're sending out the energy that you're desperate. I'm sure you all have heard of law of attraction and all that, right? There's just one condition over there that when you start acting out of desperate energy, you are far away from your goal. You shouldn't be begging. You should be like that. I know I deserve good things in life. My energy should be like that. I'm already feeling abundant. I'm already feeling good. I'm already feeling confident. A job is just, a sort of maybe one more, you could say, achievement in my life. I'm already good enough as a human being. I don't require UPSC tag on my, body and career that this is this IS rank or this, this rank holder of this, exam. Yes, it's good to have such achievements, but that is not the only thing which decides your worth as a human being, right? I'm emphasizing on this. Why? Because I don't want you to over pressurize and over stress yourself on 25th of May and ruin your chances. There are many students who every year tell me, ma'am, 4, 5 questions, and we marked it when we were sleepy, we were feeling sleepy and we were groggy, and I did silly mistake. I did not read the question properly. My statement was not read properly. So all that at least you could save. 4, 5 questions matters a lot, right? So what you need to understand is that you require course correction. You don't need to condemn yourself. You don't need to pull yourself down. The world is here to pull yourself, your relatives, your friends who are not preparing for UPSC for that matter. They will pull you down because, we have that, envy and jealousy factor, right? So let the world do its job of pulling yourself down. At least you don't pull yourself down. Okay. So But yes, you need to be realistic that why you were not able to qualify last year and understand the reasons behind it. If it's, lack in preparation, if it's lack in strategy, if it's lack in, disciplined lifestyle. When I say disciplined lifestyle, I mean to say that sleep at proper times and wake up at proper times. So that on that day of the exam, you don't feel groggy and sleepy, right? And also, I'm just going to give you one tip. You can do it in any way. There's no proper way to do it, but please start using a diary, okay, or any page for that matter. Whenever you start getting those negative thoughts, please write it down, whatever negative thoughts here, because you don't have to share it, so you can be frank with yourself when you're writing it down. Whatever negative thoughts that you're having, whatever kind of issues, anxiety that you're harboring, whatever troubles you're facing, challenges you're facing, just dump it out on a piece of paper. Preferably you tear it off. You don't want to tear it off, your call. I'm just saying that you start dumping it on paper. The moment the negative thoughts shift from here to paper, you start feeling better. Okay. So also one more thing that is important is that use a planner to plan your next 24 days. Please don't go in a random way. At least have some basic plan ready that, okay, by this time, this round of revision needs to be completed. Or maybe every day I need to do, 1 hour of CSAT, 2 hours of CSAT, 1 hour of pre-VQ, whatever is that. And also at this point of time, please start listing out areas of, focus or topics where you need to revise more. You will not be weak in the entire subject. You will be weak in certain topics. List down those topics that I'm not good in charter acts. I'm not good in parliament chapter. I'm not good in, maybe panchayat and municipalities. I'm not good in, the money market of, economy. I'm not good with microeconomics. I'm not good with, biodiversity or maybe the pollution chapter in environment. I'm not good with oceanography in, geography. I'm not good with maybe the concept of, quantum computing or biotechnology in science and technology. It could be anything. And I'm just giving you major areas. Please, as far as possible, list down the smaller subtopics also within that, particular parliament chapter where you feel you're lacking. So I used to always have, I would say I used to feel weak or not so confident in the charter acts, right? So I knew that, okay, 1909, 1919, 1935 doable hai. Uske pehle ke jitne charter acts hai, I used to revise it multiple times and still I used to forget. And I knew that if there's going to be a question, there's 95% chance that I'll do it incorrectly. But did I ever skip revising it? No. In all of my attempts, I used to revise charter acts multiple times because I told myself that if by chance there's an easy one-liner question on charter acts, it shouldn't be wrong. But if there's a very complex question, maybe they're comparing various charter acts of various years, there could be a possibility that either I skip it or maybe it is incorrect. Right? So be aware. You don't have to get 200 out of 200, right? The cutoff is not 100%. The cutoff is way, less than even, it's not even touching 150% of the marks allotted. So you have to just understand that it's not being perfect in all areas. You need to understand in which areas your strengths are there, which areas weaknesses, shortcomings are there, and accordingly work on that. So first list it out. When you have it on paper, you know. I used to always, whenever I used to revise my Lakshmikant, even if I had revised certain chapters, I knew I had half-heartedly revised it because I was distracted, something else was going in my mind. I knew I had read it, but if there's a question going to be asked from that particular topic, I will do it as a mistake. So I used to write it, revise it again because you have not done it properly. And then in the next round of revision, I used to pick up those chapters first and not start with chapter one or page one. Right? So this is what you need to understand. Start dumping your negative thoughts and start planning the list out areas of focus. Okay. Now you also need to understand one thing, which is that sometimes not everybody gets what they wish for according to your own timeline. If I want something today, maybe I want a car today, I might not get it. I have to work hard for it. And that working hard could take 1 year, 6 months, 3 years, 5 years also for my desired car. So I need to accept that there's a concept called as divine delay. Divine delay means that something is not denied to you, but when that, it's just delayed for a higher purpose of better timing. Okay. Please again, write this down. Please write it on a post-it and just, post it wherever on your wardrobe or wherever. Maybe take a screenshot and save it as a wallpaper. Whatever feels good to you. So you have to understand that sometimes the previous attempts were not denied, they were just, the results were delayed for you. Because maybe your life path is like, set like that. that in this year you will, in 25 you'll get a rank. So, accordingly, you will meet people who are going to be best friends for life in the Labasna Foundation course of 25 only, or like, the 26, because the result of 25 will be in 26, right? So I hope you're getting the point. You need to understand that some things, sometimes God doesn't deny it, it just delays it. And even if you don't believe in God, just understand that the universe or the energies around us have a specific timeline. They are following that timeline. You can't accelerate the timeline that I want this now. If you're a sincere student, you need to also accept that this exam tests your patience. This exam tests your faith. This exam tests your entire, identity, entire, self concept that you have. It can totally change you. So surrender yourself to higher energy, surrender yourself to God, whichever God you accept and you wish, or you pray to, and then accordingly just start accepting things and start working. Keep on working hard. I'm telling you, we have so many examples this year. My student Alfred, so, he met me in 22 when he was already in his fourth attempt. And I'm telling you, for certain students, I just, I used to wish he was such a, he's such a humble, down to earth person. I used to just wish that, oh God, please let him qualify. Please, he was not able to get the interview call. He was writing names again and again, but he was not getting the interview call. And, he took a drop in 23. He appeared for Forest because I had asked him that, okay, please appear for the Forest exam so that you stay in the cycle of exam. You don't totally take because of course he had accordingly many things going on in his life also, and he wanted to take a call that should he skip the attempt in 23 or not. So then what we decided that we'll appear for Forest and all, and we will not fill up the form for CSE. And 24 he filled it up, he got till interview, he did everything that was possible, and he's got rank 33. So wasn't he studying earlier? He was. Or maybe in the initial 1 or 2 attempts, there might be some issues that, he was lacking content or he was lacking answer writing practice. It could be many things. But then you need to be persistent in your efforts. If you want something, you have to be persistent. And you need to also accept that the world is not working in your timeline. Okay. Yes, you should have a timeline, but I would say you should also be a little bit flexible with it. You will get something, but when you should get it, that is not for you to decide, right? So you need to understand what feels like waiting is often the universe aligning what you asked for better than you imagined. Okay, please understand this, write it down somewhere so that you know. Now coming to the actual strategy, that okay, what's happening when you see the mark sheet. Now there could be many, I would say, different categories of students. What is there? First, let's just discuss CSAT, and then we'll keep it aside because I don't want to waste my time discussing CSAT. CSAT is not my area to discuss, and but I'm just going to give you the strategy, the ideas. So if your CSAT is not qualified in last year, as of now, it's mandatory to practice 2 hours CSAT. For the next 24 days till your exam, you have to practice CSAT. नो क्वेश्चंस आस्क्ड. आपका जीएस का सिलेबस खत्म हो ना हो, आपका रिवीजन लैग कर रहा है, आपका मॉक एफएलटी जीएस का लैग कर रहा है, इट डजंट मैटर. फिक्स अ टाइम, 2 to 4, 2:30 to 4:30, whatever suits you. I would always suggest go for the afternoon slot because your exam is going to happen in afternoon. So you will start training your mind muscle coordination हो जाएगा कि हाँ दोपहर में ही सीसैट करना है. You have to appear for practice CSAT in afternoon. So if it is not qualified, please start practicing minimum 2 hours from now onwards. No questions asked, no doubt. CSAT क्वालिफाई नहीं हुआ तो जीएस में हायर नंबर लाके भी क्या कर लोगे, राइट? एंड तब ज्यादा रिग्रेट होता है. And again, this year there have been mark sheets like this. Though, of course, less than what disaster happened in 23. But then this year also, people have not been able to qualify CSAT. So at least ये regret तो नहीं रखना है ना कि GS qualify हो गया मैम, CSAT नहीं हुआ. Right? So please start practicing it. CSAT is equally important. You have to qualify. And CSAT is one paper which is based on your practice. The speed cannot be wished upon. कि मेरे पास उस 2 घंटे में 25 को speed आ जाए. You develop speed when you practice. Okay. And also for those people who have qualified CSAT, but very low margin, like, 70s the number hai, 70 point something, 72 point something, 75, 80s, even for that matter, people who are in their 70s and 80s in CSAT in last year, even if they did qualify, you are at a sort of a border. You need to be very careful. These 70s, 80s can easily fall back less than 60. Two, three questions gaya, back to, not qualifying CSAT. So again, for you guys, it is again compulsory. Please practice CSAT 2 hours. It is going to make a lot of difference in your confidence. Because when you know that on 25th May morning that your preparation is strong, you're sorted with GS, you're sorted with CSAT also, nothing can stop you. I was always confident because my preparation for prelims used to be very, very strong. I never ignored CSAT in spite of being from engineering background. And those years, CSAT used to be straightforward, like, comparatively easy, I would say. But still, I never ignored CSAT. I never ignored my qualifying papers because it's a very easy way for UPSC to chuck you out of the system, to chuck you out of the race, to disqualify you. एक bare minimum, criteria qualify नहीं हुआ and you're out of the race for the entire year. So why to give UPSC or anybody, else the chance to chuck you out? Bare minimum efforts, at least CSAT practice karna, you have to do it, right? No questions asked. And if you'll not do it right now, then when? Acha, somebody would tell me that, ma'am, we are practicing, but maybe, 30, 40 minutes, maybe, 1 hour and all that. If you lie in these two categories, CSAT not qualified or CSAT, qualified with very low margin, I would say the 70s, 80s, you have to practice 2 hours and you have to also practice CSAT FLTs. You have 3 weekends right now, three, Sundays more and all. At least 3 to 4 FLTs of CSAT you have to practice so that you understand how to strategize during those 2 hours. CSAT is not checking your just mathematical ability or your reading comprehension, your language skills, or your reasoning skills. It is also testing that within those 2 hours, out of that 80 questions, where you can easily score that 2.5 marks. In one question, you're stuck. It's a DI question, data interpretation question. You know that it will take many minutes to solve it. Instead of that, why don't you solve some other two questions which could be solved with just some, some hack or some, maybe just putting the answer also into the question and like putting all the options and just trying that, okay, yes, this suits. So within that same time, you were able to solve two questions which gave you advantage of 5 marks. How would you be able to understand this unless until you practice CSAT for 2 hours as an FLT? Because strategy also matters, and strategy cannot just come in an imaginary way. You have to apply that strategy. Strategy in mind is just wishful thinking. Strategy applied on actual FLTs, on actual mocks, is at least telling yourself that yes, this is something which is doable. I can apply this on 25th of May. Right? Okay. So what is the action? Practice. And the basic thing that I want you to do is if you haven't done anything, please ensure that you have practiced CSAT previous year questions. You get many same questions, can be solved by same formulas or same ideas, same steps. They just have changed the figures and numerals. So I think that is very easy way to get those extra scores, right? So practice CSAT previous year questions and please practice few mock FLTs to see how you manage your time and speed. 80 questions तो कोई भी नहीं कर पाता है. You have to touch 55. Minimum 50 to 55 questions have to be done. If you're touching 60, good. But don't sit that, okay, ये calculation कर लिया, इतना सही होगा तो 42 questions या 40 questions करने से ही cut off निकल जाएगा. How do you know? What if UPSC drops 1 or 2 questions? What if, something else happens? On that day, maybe 5, 6 questions you marked incorrectly in OMR. So why to just think of the bare minimum in the exam when you have to qualify, give your best? Right? Now let's just focus on GS aspect. So first of all, see, why I was, also I said in the initial parts of the session that I wanted to conduct this session yesterday evening itself because on Monday we had the mark sheets and all, out in the evening. So I didn't want to delay this, but I was, just waiting for the students' feedbacks and like telling me that what is their marks. So the first point here is the answer key. Now the answer key is not out, and I feel it will be out when the IFS Indian Forest Services result will be out. I'm not sure that I think the interviews and all that were going on or it has been wrapped up, not so sure. But when the entire result is out, then only you can expect the GS answer key. And there have been variations. People who were getting 96 to 106 from different coaching, answer keys, their marks have, I think, come down to 90s, 92 or something. right? So there have been, you could say, huge variation from what the different coaching institutes' answer keys were, and as compared to, of course, with UPSC's answer key. So please wait for the answer key, but then you shouldn't wait to not analyze your paper. You've got the marks, you at least know that which range of marks you were expecting, what questions you did mistake and all. Please analyze your 23 and 24 paper. Sit with it, see where you took unnecessary risk, where you attempted more questions. You could have easily skipped it, or you could have maybe minimized your negatives, where you took blind guesses just for the sake of it, because you know that, okay, somebody has told you that with pure knowledge, of course, the UPSC cutoff cannot be cleared. So you do what? You take unnecessary, illogical blind risks. Yes, that's true that UPSC is not designing a paper which can be solved purely by knowledge, purely by your static sources. It can be solved. Some questions are always there which have to be solved with mix of knowledge and logic, and pure logic too. But then you need to understand where you can take risk, where you have to skip the question. I'll tell you, UPSC every year, and that has been happening since my attempts. It has never made a 100% doable question paper in prelims. What do I mean by that? Of course, the paper consists of 100 questions, but every year, 5 to 6 questions are there which have no logic, which have no current, context to it, which have no possible, normal logic context to it, that why it has been asked. World Toilet Organization, right? So don't develop an ego to solve those questions. I have seen many, PYQ solving videos on YouTube available, conducted by many coaching institutes and different mentors and faculties, in hindsight, working how to solve the question. See, in hindsight, everything works, every logic works. जब आंसर पता हो, या जब हमें गूगल सर्च कर लिया, चैट जीपीटी से पूछ लिया है, तब तो कुछ ना कुछ लॉजिक लगा के और तिकड़म लगा के तो वी कैन ऑलवेज सॉल्व द क्वेश्चन. But do you think it's possible to actually solve the question World Toilet Organization in the actual exam? Because that question, the options, the way it was made, it did not give you the possibility to eliminate also. You needed to understand and know all the three statements correctly. Like you should be aware that it's incorrect or correct, 100%. There's no some hidden, I would say logic applied. That okay, there's some hidden thing you can apply. This is extreme statement and all, right? I'm sure you all are aware of it already. So there are few questions which needs to be skipped. Please skip it. I know you have many people around you telling that this flatmate or this friend attempted 97. I attempted 97 questions, and unless until you attempt 95 plus questions, you will not be able to qualify the cutoff. I don't think so. It works like that. Please see what strategy suits you. If you are a person who can attempt 90 plus questions, minimizing negatives, then sure, that strategy works for you. But if you feel that just going by this, that I have to attempt 90, 95 questions, 97 questions, and you are, committing wrong in 40 plus questions, 45 questions have gone negative, what's the use? You're not qualifying exam. Wherein, as compared to that, a strategy which maybe is a little bit cautious, that, okay, let me have a range of 85 to 88 questions, wherein I'm not taking unnecessary risks in few questions, unnecessary, illogical, being applied, or logic being applied to just solve it for that, purpose of solving it. And I'm just focusing on other questions. And I still be able to qualify the exam. Are you supposed to get 150? Are you supposed to get even 140, 120? No, unless until you're appearing for forest, that is not the aim. So why you're taking unnecessary risk? Why you're following somebody else's strategy? If you are comfortable, apply that strategy over mocks, FLTs, and then fix the strategy that, yes, this is working for me. Right? So you have to minimize your wrongs and negatives. If in any given day or any paper, your negatives are crossing 35, you have not just lost those 35 questions, you have also, sort of eaten away the positive marks that you had done over those questions which you have done correctly, because you have negative marking. If there was no negative marking, I would have said mark 100 questions. Don't leave one single, bubble empty in the OMR paper, OMR answer sheet. But it's not. The negative is there. So don't follow other strategy. Don't follow topper strategy. Apply the strategy and see if it works for you or not. I have never attempted 95 plus questions. Never. And I was always a good, margin above the cutoff. Always. So you have to understand this, that you have to see what works for you and please apply that. It doesn't really matter that you're 10 marks above cutoff, 5 marks above cutoff, or 20 marks above cutoff, or 50 marks above cutoff. You have to qualify the exam. Why I'm saying this? Because maybe in January, I would have pushed you to score 20, 30 marks beyond the cutoffs. But at this point of time, in the next 24 days, what is possible is that you have to clear the cutoff and just be 5, 6 marks ahead of the cutoff, whatever is going to be there. And it's not your duty to sit in the paper and wonder, oh, the paper is easy, so the cutoff will go very high. Oh, the paper is difficult, so the cutoff will go very low. No, your duty is to focus on those 100 questions. उसमें से देखो which one is attemptable, which one is doable. Please focus on the paper rather than thinking in the exam itself, what is the cutoff? You are not going to decide the cutoff. You have a very small sample, size to decide. Your friend, your flatmate, 10, 20 people. Cutoff is not decided like that. And in the exam, in the duration of the exam, so please don't think of the cutoffs and all. I never thought of it, and I've been able to. My job was that if I'm getting the paper, I have to perform my best. Cut off चाहे 75 हो, मुझे 100 प्लस रहना है. Cut off 98 हो, मुझे 100 प्लस रहना है. Cut off 80 हो, मुझे 100 प्लस रहना है. 100 plus रहने के लिए, of course, I understand there are some basic bare minimums that needs to be done, and that is what is possible in the next 24 days. Maybe if I had conducted this session in January, February, the session would have been completely different because at that point of time, I would have pushed you for something else. At this point of time, in the next 24 days, I want you to push. I want you to push for what? First, having the confidence that you can qualify this exam and just having this faith in yourself that I don't need to clear the cutoff with very high score. I just need to maybe, be or score a decent amount of marks. If you are in, late 95 to, touching 100, you're safe. Don't think about 150, 170. Okay. So don't go for illogical, egoistic attempts in the actual exam. Okay. And start applying the strategy. Whatever strategy you have fixed, please apply it over various mocks, FLTs to see if it's working or not. Make sense? Right? Okay. Let's move on. Now, prelims 24 days. So, as the slogan was, go back to Vedas. Don't take it as go Simon back, Simon go back. Okay, this is not that one. This is then similar to go back to Vedas. So, go back to basics. What is the basic? What do I mean? What I meant by this is that don't complicate your preparation strategy at this point of time. Please revise your static. Revise as many times as possible. At least hit 2 rounds of solid revision before 25th. And in that also, what you can do is that your first round should be a detailed one where you're taking good time, focusing on each subject, covering the 100% syllabus. And the second round could be micro thematic approach based. That means that maybe remember I told you that while planning, listing out your, topics, those micro topics or subtopics where you have not properly revised that when you were revising polity geography, or you feel that even if I revise it, I'm not confident over there. List out those areas, those themes, those topics should be revised in the second, round of reading, second round of revision for that matter. Okay. And please focus on high yield core areas. That means that UPSC has been focusing on certain areas. You have done previous year questions, and I'm assuming that you have done previous year questions. If you have not done previous year questions, you still have time in 24 days to at least target the last 5, 6 years of previous year questions. Don't have, the aim of 20, 30, 25, 30 years of previous year questions, which is not possible in the next 24 days. This is for that student who has not been able to touch PYQs still. What I would suggest, please go for at least the last immediate 5, 6 years. That means what? That means go for 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. Okay, 5, right? And when you're done with these, then you could maybe go back to 2019, 2018. Like this is the bare minimum that I'm telling you what is possible to be done in the next 24 days. If you have been doing PYQs, you have done 25, 30 years PYQ, 10, 12 years PYQ, very nice, very good. Just keep on revising it. There's also one more thing. When you do previous year questions, there are two approaches to do it. One is doing it subject wise. Now, I would say doing it subject wise was expected in the months of February, March, April. Today is the last day of April. So yes, I was expecting students to that when they cover a particular subject, they cover the previous year questions for that particular subject simultaneously. At this point of time, my orientation is to tell you to practice previous year questions year wise. Why? Because you should be able to understand that quality in every year or in the past 5 years has not been asked in the similar manner. Last year, there were some straightforward questions from, Lakshmikant book, or I would say from a general textbook. So it was doable. In one of the years, it was not very direct. So, okay, that means you need to be prepared that in 2025, it could be either directly asked from Lakshmikant or it could have some like polity is being played around as a subject, right? So, you should be aware that year wise, how they have placed every subject. Maybe 2 years, 3 years back, there were less number of geography questions. Last year, there were many questions. So, can you afford to ignore geography? For the last 3, 4 years, there have been less questions from modern history. But can you afford to ignore it? What if they increase the frequency now? This year, they asked 10 questions on modern history. So, having an idea that yes, certain areas were ignored in certain years and how the questions were framed out of it. Sometimes, art and culture was very static. Sometimes it was asked mostly from current perspective. So, having this approach, having this knowledge, when you look at the previous year questions year wise, कि 24 का पेपर कैसा था 23 का पेपर कैसा था how they have played around how they have framed the question. So this is what you should be understanding so that you have an understanding that how this year could be nobody could guess, nobody knows, right? But then you do understand that UPSC is not going to totally change the format and the pattern. It might, of course, and it will have a resemblance to the earlier years. So you should be having this year-wise previous year questions approach, okay? And then, so what was the first thing that we talked about? About the static. So high yield core areas, from PYQ. I discussed previous year questions because the high yield core areas, which give you more marks, which give you the possibility that if you do this particular chapter or these particular chapters or this particular topic, you will be, of course, able to, write, do them correctly in the exam. And of course, it will give you more marks. The entire paper is not random. So that is something that you need to emphasize upon. So don't go for 100% perfect coverage in revisions. Your first revision could be where you are targeting 100%, but then also I would say please prioritize your areas. Don't start with, if you're wanting to, revise the environment, please don't start with ecology chapter. Doesn't make sense. Start with those areas: pollution, biodiversity, international, conventions, climate change or a topic, or you start with Indian legislations and all, right? So you prioritize those areas. Don't start with page one or chapter one. Doesn't make sense. And in the second round, focus on the thematic areas, focus on high yield core areas which are have the possibility of getting repeated. Okay. Then current affairs, one good source is enough. Please stick to that. Don't get panicky in the last moment to pick up, another source and all that, and have multiple sources of current affairs. We all know that current affairs is one area which has become unpredictable. It's not going to be asked directly from any current affairs magazine or any current affairs classes for that matter. The knowledge what you have gathered from current affairs can be used to eliminate options in particular questions. I'm again repeating this because this is the point you need to understand. Sometimes you get knowledge so that you could eliminate options and not figure out the right answer in the first step itself. Sometimes knowledge can help you figure out the right option out of the four. On the other hand, sometimes your knowledge can help you remove the other options to figure out the right option. ए नहीं होगा, सी नहीं होगा, डी नहीं होगा, बी ही होगा क्योंकि चार ऑप्शन में तो कोई ना कोई तो होगा. So with current affairs, actually, you're supposed to know what's happening. You're supposed to cover the areas of, importance like economics, science and technology, environment, even for that matter, art and culture, your international relations, places, news, because sometimes that knowledge can be used to remove or eliminate the other options. And then you think that, okay, this becomes the most logical, correct option. Sometimes you're not, figuring out the correct option. You're figuring out what is the most correct out of these four options. Learn this aspect also. Okay, so don't go after, running after so many current affairs sources. If you have been sticking to one source, if you have been doing two sources, at least stick to one source, revise it multiple times. Current affairs also needs to be revised multiple times, because without revision you will see that it feels familiar on that particular day of the exam, but then you're not able to figure out the right option, or you're not sure about the right option. So revision, again, is very important. Anything new that you want to touch, I would say that as far as possible, at least 10, 12 days before the exam, do not touch anything new. But if something you feel is at most important, maybe by this time you missed out reading critical minerals, or you missed out maybe doing the natural vegetation of India, you don't know the forest type of different forests and all. If these kind of important topics are left, maybe you can still do it, but don't pick up a new source, new material, new stuff at this point of time. And please don't join revision classes, those marathon revision classes and everything, unless until it's a, something that you have followed the particular faculty in his or course or module. Then if they're conducting that particular module ka revision class, makes sense. But then don't do something which is very new to you. Okay? Okay. And I discussed about the previous year questions. One mistake that students often do, and which they ignore, is that you might have been attempting many sectionals. You have been part of many sectional tests, you attempted many sectionals from January onwards or February onwards, but you have not revised it. Then how would you able to understand where you have the possibility to do mistakes? So whatever sectionals and full length tests that you have appeared for, please analyze them, please revise them. That knowledge itself is actually, see, you have a basic knowledge from your static sources, right? From Lakshmikant, from NCRTs, whatever book that you're following. When you solve, when you have attempted those sectionals or FLTs, some extra knowledge is coming on top of it. So you're cementing your foundation, you're cementing your knowledge base. And when your knowledge base is strong, your knowledge base is going a little bit beyond the standard textbook, which everybody would be reading, then you increase the possibility of qualifying the exam, clearing the cutoff. With just bare minimum, which is your standard textbook, nowadays you can't expect to clear the cutoff. So what is important is that through the effect, I'm not going to ask you to add some new sources or advanced material at this point of time. No, whatever sectionals, whatever full length tests you have already appeared for, please analyze them. Please use them to gather or do value addition to increase the knowledge base. If you have done basic Buddhism and Jainism, whatever questions that are asked in sectionals and all, something feels new, use that knowledge and build up on the basic that you have of Buddhism and Jainism. That is how you crack the exam. Don't go running after numerous new materials and materials claiming that everything of Buddhism, Jainism is covered over here. If you already have that, some other material, that's okay. Please stick to that and build the gaps or the loopholes through sectionals, through full length tests, through analyzing those solutions and those papers that you have already attempted. Right? And also, the basic part is also, apart from all this, the basic is also that you need to attempt FLTs. You need to attempt and strategize 2 hours. You need to understand how you will manage those 2 hours, 9:30 to 11:30. उस दिन 25th May को आपका 9:30 से 11:30 कैसे गुजरेगा, कैसे बीतेगा, and how many rounds you will do the paper. You're comfortable in just 1 round, 2 round, 3 rounds. You should be able to apply that strategy beforehand over multiple FLTs. Don't go that I have a strategy in my mind. Just one day or maybe a week back, I saw some topper strategy and some post on Telegram about prelim strategy. And I've just, I'm going to apply his strategy because it has worked for him. No, there are numerous ways to crack this exam. That strategy worked for him. If you want to apply it, please test for yourself. Apply it over various FLTs. Apply it at over minimum 3 to 4 FLTs to understand if it's working for you or not. Somebody goes for a morning walk in the morning, right? It works for them. If I don't have time, maybe in the morning, because maybe, I'm a person who takes care of my family or, has some responsibilities. So maybe I'll go for a walk in the evening. That is my strategy. That is my way of, staying healthy and disciplined. You need to understand what works for you. Please start developing that individual confidence and self-worth. It's good to listen to people who have qualified this exam. It's good to listen to strategies of mentors, but don't blindly apply it. First, see that does the strategy work for you? Can you apply it over the mock FLTs? Has the particular strategy given you result, favorable result? Then you go and apply it on the 25th May. Don't go randomly and just, 1 week back I had heard something and some topper talk, and that person said that attempt 9,900 questions and I attempted 9,900 questions. And now I have seen that there are 45 questions that have gone wrong. If I had not attempted 10 more questions, I might have cleared the cutoff. Don't do such foolish mistakes. Okay? Okay. So you need to, the basics also consist of that, okay, revision, static current affairs, PYQs, your already attempted sections and abilities, but in the upcoming days also, preferably I would say, barring the last 10 days before your exam, for the next 2 weeks, I would say, please, you can go for attempting FLTs and have a mixed bag of FLTs. Like, don't just go for one particular coaching. That coaching is not going to make the paper for UPSC CSE 2025. You need to have a mixed bag of FLTs. Pick up two, three different coachings, maybe one difficult, two easy, two difficult, one easy, one average, one current affairs based, one static based. Have this kind of, FLTs approach. Because no one particular coaching is going to decide what question is going to come in the exam, right? So you should be able to handle various types of paper. Too factual, okay, let me see how I can strategize and how can, score good. Too static, okay, good. How will I, be able to attempt this paper? What is my strategy? Mix of static and current affairs, okay. Purely current affairs, okay. You should be mentally ready to handle every kind of paper. The person who's mentally ready to handle every, challenge or barrier is the person who becomes successful. It's not about IQ, EQ, this and that. Okay, EQ is good to have, but I'm just saying. It's not of being talent and all. It's also about that you are mentally prepared to handle every kind of challenge. And how do you make yourself mentally prepared? By practicing various FLTs. I have students telling me, I've been revising, but I did not attempt FLTs. No, you can't do this mistake. At least have some fixed number of FLTs to be attempted to fix your strategy. That, okay, on the particular exam day, I will be following this. I have this particular strategy which works for me. I will take risks in such questions. I will not take risks. Maybe my, range of attempting the questions is from 85 to 88 or till 90 or even 95 for that matter. It could be that for some students it works. I'm not saying any strategy is wrong. You need to see which works for you. Individual. Okay? Okay. Now let's move on. Now, I received some, particular questions because I had given out the Google form. So I'll be just reading it, and if it has already been addressed, so it's good because I promised that yes, I'll be taking up questions. So I'm going to read and give you the answer for it. And I think there was some which came in the last moment, like last 1 hour, there were some extra questions. So after the session gets completed, I'll be stopping the PPT and I'll just pick up that questions from there. Okay. So just have patience and just bear with me. Okay, so let's read the first question. Ma'am, the previous year prelims mark sheet is haunting me. It makes me feel I'm not capable enough. I studied very hard for 1.5 years. The margin by which I missed the cutoff is not small. It is around 27 marks. 23 attempt was a non-serious one. The difference between the margin I missed the cutoff between 23 and 24 is just 3 marks. It makes me lose hope. Please give me some suggestions. Yes, I do understand that the gap is huge. 27 marks, yes. But then I would say that you cannot bridge this 27 marks, or you cannot bridge the gap in the next 24 days. That's nowhere written. That's not fixed. You can still bridge because you should first be aware. Please sit with your 23 and 24 paper. Please analyze 23 का answer key is already, it's available. 24 का तो ठीक है, जब आएगा तब देखेंगे, but at least any good coaching से answer key you can take up and see what mistake you have done. First, maybe let's assume that you attempted 90 questions, and out of 90, maybe 45 went wrong. 45 right, 45 wrong. Okay. So then you see this 45 wrong that you did. What was your thought process? What made you attempt that question? What kind of logic or what kind of knowledge you applied? I'm sure out of those 45 questions, there could be a possibility that you could have left 5 questions. You could have skipped them. Why? Because you were not so sure. Okay. Or in those 45 questions, you did some mistake if those questions belong to static and it was a knowledge gap, it was a revision gap. You did not revise properly. The questions felt familiar. You even could recall half the information it was in this page on this particular book, but you were not able to solve it. So that means you require revision. So please sit with your paper again. First of all, face the fear, face your paper and your performance, and you can bridge this marks gap. राइट बिकॉज एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम तो हमें नहीं पता ना कि हम कितने मार्क्स से इस बार का पेपर क्या होगा, इस बार का कट ऑफ क्या होगा, वी डोंट नो. So in a way, we just need to, sort of work that what mistakes we did earlier, even in 24. It could be and I'll tell you one thing. Whoever has asked this question, and for everybody, I must say, 1 year has passed, like from 23 attempt to 24 to 25. From 24 attempt to 25, 1 year has passed. Around 1 year, 11 months. And I'm sure you must have gathered more knowledge. Even if you hadn't studied the entire 11 months, even if you have studied just last 2 months, I'm telling you, your knowledge base has still increased. It's just that, and it might have increased from 23 to 24 also. But what happened in the exam, either you took unnecessary risk, either you went on, blindly attempting, like you didn't even count how many questions you're attempting, and you just blindly filled up the OMR because you panicked. I have one student, and she's always like, telling me this thing that she panicked in the last 10, 15 minutes of the exam because she thought कि जब अब करना ही है तो करके मरते हैं. मतलब, do or die situation है. अब, paper difficult लग रहा है. The preparation is also not strong. So maybe if I have to, clear the cutoff, if, let me attempt more questions. अगर तब भी cutoff clear हो गया तो अच्छी बात है. नहीं हुआ तो फिर तो वैसे भी नहीं हो रहा था. But I think that strategy is, something what is called as a, fate wala um, strategy. Like paper may don't do this do and die. In other aspects, it's good to have do and die. Like in your preparation approach, go all out, do and die situation. Like study for 12, 12, 14 hours. But then in the actual paper, because there's a negative marking, don't have this concept do or die type situations. कि all out खेलते हैं. हुआ तो हुआ, नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ. नहीं, it could be that कि 4-5 questions आपने जो unnecessary attempt किए, that could have been saved. That would save your negatives. Right? That combination needs to be seen from your side. कि आप कितना क्या करते और नहीं करते, कहाँ पे unnecessary risk लिया उस 45 क्वेश्चन में से जो मैंने एग्जांपल दिया out of 90 those 45 questions. Maybe if you had skipped 5 questions, if you had just not attempted it, and maybe in the less 5, a different thought process could have been applied. So that is something that you need to understand from your perspective. That is why sitting with your paper, you know and analyzing it is very important. You can easily bridge that gap for that matter. And people have bridged it. It's just that when toppers do it, they don't really focus on prelims marks. Because, prelims marks is just qualifying. It doesn't get added to your marks, right? It doesn't really help you secure a higher rank. Mains and interview marks matter. So most of the times, the toppers, have bridged that gap in consecutive attempts of 27, 30, 40 marks. They're not, sharing that. There are not so many examples in the public platform, but I'm telling you, it's possible. But you need to sit, you need to understand that what stopped you from qualifying in 24, what kind of risks you take, what kind of risks you could have avoided taking, what questions could have been easily skipped. So all that needs to, done. And in the next 24 days, please revise, make up. And if you feel that there's a knowledge gap, there's a revision gap, at least ensure that this year that's not happening. Prioritize, have that list that, okay, which topic needs to be revised? Because of course, see, if I'll pick up quality, I will start with Parliament and State Legislative Assembly because most of the times UPSC has asked questions from there. I will pick up, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and DPSP. I will pick up maybe, the Governor President chapter. So this is how you need to prioritize while you're approaching that subject and having a list of topics where I feel that even if I've done Panchayat municipalities, I still get confused. There's a possibility that I could do this question wrong because then in the next round, I will again revise it. Okay. Now, the next question was feeling same might happen again, although I practiced PYQs, mocks, did revision, but all of these together are scattered everywhere. And now at the end, it's chaotic to revise all of this again. Not sure whether I should have compiled all of this together, feeling underconfident this time also, and now unable to decide whether to focus on scattered notes or compile it because time is not there. Okay, very simple answer to this. Ideally, I would have said that you compile it. But because we are very near to the exam, please understand this that even if you have scattered notes or you have compiled notes, will you be allowed to carry your notes to the examination hall? No. In any state, it's not allowed. Even in interview, it's not allowed, right? You are not supposed to carry whatever notes or whatever introduction you have prepared. That means what? That everything needs to be placed here. Your mind will carry it. So even if I have scattered notes, or even if I have very beautiful, notes prepared, which can be sold off in markets and sold off as, as good PDFs on Telegram, and you can earn money out of it, it doesn't really matter. Every content needs to be in the mind. So don't worry about this at this point of time. Please don't think of compiling it because the time, that moments, the seconds, or even hours that you'll waste in compiling, it's better you revise that scattered notes multiple times. Multiple times revision is what is important rather than having a good collection of beautiful notes. You don't want people commenting when you're, sitting outside the center, revising through your beautiful notes, people coming up to you and saying, oh my God, such beautiful handwriting, such beautiful, notes. I don't want that praise. How is it going to matter? UPSC is not going to, make me qualify the exam just by seeing my notes, at least of prelims. In mains, of course, your handwriting and all that might matter. If you have a beautiful handwriting, you have beautiful presentation, okay, it might matter. And even then the mains, your own notes doesn't matter. UPSC doesn't check you or assess you from that. So how does it matter? It's scattered or compiled. It needs to be on your mind. Please start, even if it's scattered, start revising it multiple times. First, make a list that, for example, it could be the thing that maybe for science and technology, you have multiple sources. Or maybe for mapping, you have scattered notes. कहीं पे कुछ बनाया, कहीं पे कुछ world mapping कर दिया, कहीं पे Africa लिख दिया, कहीं पे India का कुछ कर दिया. So no problem. Make a list that okay, I have this topics there where it is there, like wherever it is you're noted down or wherever you have made notes out of it, and you keep on revising it. That okay, if I want to revise mapping, let me pick up the India mapping first, let me pick up this. So it's actually about, at this point of time, the rounds and iterations of revision is more important rather than having a very beautiful compiled notes. Ideally, yes, but we don't live in an ideal world. Ideally, I would like to have, a beautiful house, a palatial bungalow, Rolls Royce car. But the practical aspect is that maybe I'm not, earning so much to have that. But I can have a decent car, I can have a decent home. So similarly, and I'm still doing good. I'm happy in life. I'm sleeping peacefully. So in a way, what is important is that whatever scattered notes you have, please revise it multiple times so that it stays in your mind. So that in the exam, on the examination day, when you see the question, it just doesn't look familiar. You knew what is the right answer. And then you mark the right answer on the OMR. Okay. Now let's move on to the aspect of mains. Okay. I'll be taking up, I think there were two, three questions which I told you came in very, very last moment. So I did not include it in the PPT. I'll be taking them up. I'll be discussing that. Okay. Now I just want to quickly focus on mains because there's a logical concern that I am not worried about prelims. My prelims will be qualified. I know how to and what to do to qualify prelims. My CSAT is also sorted. But then even if I qualify prelims, my mains is not guaranteed, and I know 90 days will not be sufficient. So what to do? Should I give this attempt or should I skip? Now the same logic which I applied earlier, skipping the attempt, appearing in 2026, result will be out in 27. 2 years from now, we don't know what's going to happen. What if UPSC, there's always rumors of that option will be removed and this will be done and that will be done, and what not. So we can't take risks based on future. ठीक है, हम स्टॉक मार्केट में नहीं बैठे हैं कि हाँ इस कंपनी का पोटेंशियल है अभी खरीद लो और फिर बाद में तो मालामाल हो जाएंगे. That's not how at least UPSC and career works. So then please understand that it is doable in less than 90 days. चलो 70 days रख लो, हटाओ रिजल्ट सब कुछ ले लो रख के. Let's say 70 days, 60 days. 60 days and what is possible is not 100% or perfection, required, or like if you approach the exam with perfection, the doable aspects. What you need to understand is that optional essay ethics, and for that matter, I'll include GS2 also. So you have always heard people saying optional ethics essay. Sort this out. इसमें पहले सबसे पहले आता है optional. If you are worried about your mains, you know that time is less. Prioritize your optional, because if you don't get a solid score from your optional subject out of 500, I'm not even saying 300, but अगर 260 प्लस नहीं हो तो जीएस और एसए में कितने भी अच्छे नंबर आ जाएंगे, और अगर खुदा ना खास्ता इंटरव्यू में if you get less score, then you're not getting a rank. So your optional needs to be strong, 260 plus. For that, again, you need to understand which are the areas which are high yielding. Don't go for 100% completion. Please practice writing. Sometimes it's not about content, it's about how you present it. It's not about sometimes that how am I as a person. In my professional, if I am, in my professional area, if I'm, good in my content, if I'm good in my strategy, if I know how to interact with students, I'm a little bit presentable. That is what it matters. What I do in personal life, you will not be bothered by it, right? So similarly, you need to understand that in optional, you need to not just have good content and just keep on running after content, after content, after content, char material or market se le liya, telegram se ye bhi le liya, wo bhi le liya. Maybe just stick with one and do it honestly, do it properly, and write more. Content and presenting the same content are two different things. Okay. See, we will have a detailed discussion post prelims, because at this point of time, I don't want to waste the time of students. But yes, I'm just giving you the hope and trying to convince you that you should not, skip the attempt of 2025, because you're not worried about prelims, but more worried about mains. And you feel that I'll be, wasting my attempt. So let me skip the attempt altogether. No, I don't think so. That is at least recommended by me. You can do it, but you need to understand which are the focus areas you need to prioritize. Okay, I am so sorry. I'm not sure the guys, are you able to hear me? Okay, are you guys able to hear me? Am I back? Just a moment, please. Am I back? Are you guys? Yeah. You are able to hear me? There was a connection problem. There was a light cut. Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I'm not sure like what we missed. Though I know that moment, the HD cut out. Okay, just a moment. Let me just confirm that if I'll be able to share. You can see the screen. Okay, there's some chats also. Okay, okay. Okay, just give me any reaction if you're able to see the screen, you're able to hear my, voice. Okay, thank you, Anamika. Thank you. Okay, let's get back then. Okay, my heart skipped a beat, right? I was talking about that you can't have control over external factors. And when I was saying this, a thought crossed my mind, what if there's an electricity outage? And I feel the same thing applies to me. So yes, the response. I could either have gotten frustrated, irritated, or I control myself that, okay, I'll manage somehow, or maybe we can do this session again. So this is how you need to control E plus R is equal to O, right? Okay, we are back. So the discussion was on mains, right? Now, what I was telling you about the optional part, it is doable. Okay, but you need to prioritize the areas. Fine. Now, sorry. So the aspect is that will we be able to bridge the gap? There's greater number of gap in there. That means maybe in the difference from cutoff or the difference from the toppers scores, and you feel that there's more than 100 marks gap. Yes, it can be filled, but of course you need to work hard, lot hard. You need to write more. You need to practice more. Answer writing needs to be on point, even for the optional and for the other subjects also. So more than studying and all that, more than content collection, you have to actually work harder on presenting the content. Okay, so that is something that we need to understand. Okay, now few areas. Okay, I'll just discuss quickly. And that is that more than the test series and more than answer writing and all, please get your few copies either evaluated or assessed by mentors. And I'm saying the optional GS essay mentors. Okay, a person, and I'm please understand, evaluators are different. And at this point of time, I know all of you are aware that the evaluators recruited by the various coaching institutes, they are just students like you, right? They are not being evaluated by the mentor unless the course specifies, the module, the program specifies that the copy will be evaluated by the mentor. Okay. Just a moment. Let me just check again my connection. Okay. Yes. So, right. So coming back, yes, you have to get a proper person to have a look at, and it ideally could be the faculty or the mentor, and not just once, two, three copies you need to show them. Of course, depending on like in the month of June also, that what stage you are currently and what improvement is, like don't approach mentors at the fag end of your preparation. Like don't approach them in the first week of August. Even if they suggest something, how will you improve? I've come across many students coming to me very late. They're coming to me, like last year. So you have your mains exam in the September, and they were coming to me in August, July end, and even earlier also. I can't make you better in essay in 1 month for that matter, because every day you're not going to write essay. It was possible to make you better in essay in 1 month if for 30 days you were practicing and writing an essay, which you are not because your focus is always on GS and optional. So you need to understand that you have to approach your mentor preferably once in June, once in July, once in August to track that how you're improving. Okay. And please get it seen by the actual mentors. And yes, I'm not discounting the value of the peer support and the peer group. You can have a look, like show them to your friends and all. But then yes, like that feedback and the mentors feedback, of course, will have some quality difference. Okay, so if you have not been doing that, please do so, and that includes your essay. I have had people telling me that. This is the first time they are doing essay test series, or they're doing it for the first time. They're having the first time a mentor actually taking a look at their essay copy and telling them that what needs to be improved. So don't commit this mistake, right? Even at least if once you get the chance, please get it looked after by a mentor on the actual answer copy or the thing that you're writing. And you also need to understand that it is about the speed also. In prelims, it's speed. In mains, also it's speed. It's about completing the paper and not just, writing perfect answers for 12 questions only. You have to complete the paper so that even if we cumulatively add the average marks, you have a good, decent marks to show. Right. So it's not just about extraordinary content. Don't run after content for GS also. It's also about whatever content you have, how well you present it and how quickly you can think on your feet. मेंस में ना हाथ नहीं रुकना चाहिए. हाथ रुक गया, क्वेश्चन छूटेगा ही छूटेगा. चाहे आप कितनी भी if you have given a good quality in your remaining questions, still if you're thinking too much, if your pen is stopping, you're going to have the issue of time management. So it's about revisions, knowing the points quickly come to your mind, at least for the expected questions. If there's a question on cyclone or there's a question on, any for that matter, expected nature questions on agriculture, MSP, you should have ready-made points in your mind because you've already written multiple times answers for that particular question or topic. Okay. Then I told you about optional essay ethics. You can't ignore essay ethics. So I was focusing back on that, how it is doable in 70 days. When you focus on your optional, when you focus on essay and ethics, you can't compromise essay. At least per week, you should be writing 1 to 2 essays, either one full-fledged essay and one essay brainstorming, but you need to do that. And ethics, of course, we have all heard of, that how ethics paper is important. It is important. And more than that, writing and practicing ethics answers, because it's not just about the content. The paper happens on Sunday when you're already exhausted from Friday, Saturday, writing so many papers. It is the fourth paper in the sequence of GS papers. It's on the third day, second half, 2 to 5 p.m. You're already so much exhausted in the heat and from the previous day's exhaustion, it's carrying over that you're not able to give your best. So you need to practice a lot of ethics answer writing so that, it's the coordination is already there. The moment you see a question, the answer starts running, right? So, and this will happen with practice. Okay. And optional subject we discussed. Yes, it is the kingmaker. Then you have to develop the stamina for answer writing rather than just practicing one FLD in 2 weeks, writing 3 hour paper in 2 weeks. You need to write multiple papers. I mean, that is not possible in the month of June, July, because you're, of course, completing your syllabus, you're revising it. It's okay. Please write them in towards the second half of the July to August. You need to write multiple FLTs. There have been toppers claiming that they wrote around 30 plus FLTs of GS and optional together, right? You have, because there's so many open mocks being conducted by various coachings, so all of them together and even on their own they have practiced. And I would say, rather than writing just one 3 hour test on one particular Sunday, please align that you're writing three two tests, 3 hour two tests. That means maybe 9 to 12, and then you take a break, lunch break. Let's just simulate the UPSC pattern. UPSC conducts two papers in one single day. Similarly, you have to also simulate the same thing. It's easy to prepare for a topic and write for 3 hours in a beautiful handwriting. It's very difficult to actually write multiple papers in one day. So you should be aware like that you're aligning your 3 hour test, like align two tests on one particular day, so that you by the second test you're already tired and you're simulating even when you're tired, you're not so fresh. How answer, like what quality answers you're writing. So this is something that you need to understand, and that's why I've written answer writing stamina building. More than the quality and perfection of the answer, it's about how much, and students don't accept, but the quality of the answer does go down in the actual exam. What answers you were writing in the test series is way different from what you have actually done in UPSC. And now they wonder that why they have got less scores, because you have not maintained the same quality. Because maintaining the same quality was very difficult because you didn't have the stamina. You never simulated that you need to write two papers in one single day. I think there was one girl topper, not just this year's toppers, but I think 23 topper or 22 topper. And she said that she used to write two GS FLTs and one essay in single day. That is what you need to do, right? Okay. Now, the next part is, of course, that we will focus on not just content, but presentation and even handwriting. I have two students where, they have got average scores, and I feel it's because of lack of presentation and handwriting. The font size is small, the handwriting is not legible, and I feel that has led to low scores because they are good in content. If I compare from the content perspective, they're at par with other students, or maybe even beyond that, because I have seen their content, I've seen their notes, I've seen what subject materials they are studying. But because of presentation aspect and the handwriting aspect, either the legibility is not there or the presentation is very messed up. The evaluator has not read the entire answer for that matter and has given them the average scores. Okay. And during those 70, 80 days, the focus should be at least, however, to get into the, interview, like to get an interview call at any cost. And then when the interview comes, if we get a good time, we will practice through mocks and everything, so that even if you have not scored very high, you know that your optional is not something which is going to lend you 300 plus marks. Your GS score is not going to be 460, 480. It might be 445, 450, 440. Okay. Then an interview will strive for 200 plus marks, and that's possible irrespective of the board. I'm not going to go into the controversial parts right now. Doesn't It's not the focus area. Okay, so it is possible. So please don't skip prelims. Right? Okay. Now, I'll just check the time. Okay, yes, good timing to be followed. So I'll just stop sharing this, and I just want to refer to the questions that I received. Just a moment. So I think two questions too I did take. Yes. So one student's main specific question is that he has mentioned prelims mark 112, mains mark 718. Still, I'm not over the self-doubt and skepticism on my ability to put in targeted efforts, which is crucial in mains. Still, I have a feeling that I have not acquired the skill of mains preparation. It takes tremendous effort to sit and do mains preparation, unlike a more casual approach in prelims. So I'm still fearing the inevitable transition post prelims. My optional being philosophy and an inherent flair towards nonfiction, the essays are getting complex in nature, and I'm consciously trying to simplify that. My thoughts are getting distorted, barring these so far going okay in GS. See, for essay, At this point of time, I'll not address this, but post prelims, please get in touch with me. And I'm not even asking you to join the paid test series or this and that. I'll be conducting few sessions because even I want to. Like you must all have heard that essay scores this year, like for the 2024, has again gone down. So I'll be doing the trend analysis, what better can be done, and that will be a free session. Okay. So at least please reach out to me, or please at least keep an eye out on my channel. Post prelims with respect to your essay, I will solve that problem because even my students have committed this mistake. When I tell them to write something good, they feel that they have to make their essay very complex to be able to, score high marks, which is not there. Because a simple rule needs to be followed. The evaluator should be able to understand what you have written in one reading. He or she is not going to read your essay multiple times because I am not sure what kind of dedication or what kind of you would say inclination they have or incentivization they have to read your essays multiple times. So if they're able to understand your essay in one reading, you will be given good scores. If not, average scores. नहीं समझ में आया क्यों नंबर देंगे, right? Simple things. So but how to make your writing from complex to simple? We will be I need to see that copy and all that, and then I can guide you well. The initial thing that you have talked about, that you have not acquired the skills of mains preparation, can I just tell you, I have a very simple answer to it, which sounds simple but is not simple actually, because when you have to implement it, it's not simple. The skill of mains preparation is not preparation, it's answer writing. And even I have done this mistake, to be very genuine and authentic to all of you. I have done this mistake. I have also not practiced enough answers and always used to run after content, this class, that class, current affairs class, optional class, and I never actually practiced a lot of answers. So the skill of means preparation is simply writing lot of answers, because on that day you don't have time to think what you're going to write, what good introduction or conclusion you can write. It's about automatically coming to your mind because you've already written a similar answer earlier through your test series or through your self practice. I'm not even asking or telling you to or recommending you to join multiple test series. Answer writing practice can be done on your own, on sitting on your study table, in your own room, in your library, whatever, simply by picking up previous year questions. Nothing better than that, right? So the skill of mains preparation is equivalent to answer writing practice. With less content also, but good answer writing skills, you can get an interview call. We have seen that. And you must have also seen it through many toppers copies where where you realize or where you say that how this person has got a rank. The content is so basic because the same basic content he was able to present in less time as compared to you who focused on writing special or extraordinary content, but he took up too much of time, compromised the quality in other answers, was not able to complete the paper, and then you wonder that why you're not getting an interview call. I'm not asking you to be average, but I'm asking you to be above average and not think of being super or extraordinary or like giving an outstanding content. किसी के पास है ही नहीं ऐसा content. Don't go for that narrative and idea. Okay, so the skill of mains writing or sorry mains preparation is answer writing. Trust me on this. I have learned it the hard way. I don't want my students to learn it the hard way. Okay, but of course we'll have a detailed discussion later on. Okay, now let me move on to the other questions, which is okay. Just a moment. See, essay marks and all. I understand at this point of time, essay marks can be improved, but yes, there's only one condition applied to it, that you need to practice a lot of essays, because I'll tell you there are two common factors why students are not able to score good in UPSC essay. One is that you have not understood the demand of the question, demand of the topic for that matter. Essay topic also demands you to present your thoughts in an organized and structured way, adhering to the demand of the topic and not what you feel like. The topic was not social media. The topic was social media, triggering a fear of, a FOMO and fear of missing out and, depression and loneliness. It was not just social media. So you need to understand, I'm just giving you a normal example for that matter, but I'm just trying to convey that understanding the topic demand is something that needs to be prioritized, and that can be done when you practice a lot of essays, a lot of topics. So again, writing skills and practicing is what can help you improve essay. Okay, but of course, a detail depending on trends and all that, I will be taking a detailed session on it post prelims. So please have patience with that. Till that time, please focus on qualifying prelims. Okay, because I have also bad experience of people that even I had students where I thought that I don't need to worry about their prelims because I just have to worry about their mains and I have to guide them in mains and all that, and they were not able to qualify prelims. Either they failed CSAT or could not clear the GS cutoff because they were too much worried about the second stage, which is actually the second stage. You have to first clear the first stage, right? Okay. Then I'm really scared at first instance. I've given the paper, and after coming home, the only thing I realized is I could have cleared it if I had trusted myself more and should have studied instead of doubting myself here and there. And now, after a year, also the last baggage is with me only. I know deep inside I have the potential to compete, but still not able to compete because of low confidence and mentally low. I'm not able to overcome these mental blockages to give my 100% to this exam. If I put in the required hard work, I will clear. Please help. See, of course, I cannot change your mindset in just 5 minutes of motivation session. But the tips that I gave you, start changing the narrative. The moment you get a negative thought, and I'm telling you, some negative thoughts even I have. Maybe I am not preparing for UPSC, so I don't have negative thoughts or about qualifying UPSC or preparing for UPSC. But I have some negative thoughts of fears, insecurities about other aspects of my life, my future, my career. Like as a mentor also, I must be having some doubts. So as humans, we are susceptible, we are prone to having negative thoughts, limiting beliefs, doubting ourselves, not having the courage. But then you also need to tell yourself that having these fears and insecurities is not going to help you in any way. You have to take that risk, you have to take that jump, you have to take that leap of faith, you have to be courageous. And there's always the one moment can change your story. The moment you get a negative thought, please just ask or tell yourself that there are instances where people who have not been able to qualify prelims in the past 2 3 attempts have been able to qualify in their present attempt. We have so many toppers for that matter. How about they able to do it? You need to calm yourself down. You need to see there are two aspects, the mindset and the reality part. The reality part is, of course, that is your preparation complete? Is your revision complete? Are you practicing enough number of questions? Have you done PYQ? Like, those are the basic things. But then it's also about the mindset. You need to club them together. If you're doing everything, but then you're just doubting yourself, oh, I cannot do, or this is not for me, UPSC is not for me, then it will be very difficult. So, with the moment you get a negative thought, you write that negative thought, and in front of it, write the positive thought. Just change the narrative. Sorry for that. Just change the narrative. You just need one attempt to get a rank. एक ही अटेम्प्ट में होता है ना, ऐसा तो होता नहीं कि पहले प्रीलिम्स क्वालिफाई हुआ फिर यूपीएससी ने बोला ओके ठीक है 2 साल पहले क्वालिफाई किया था ना अब इस साल सिर्फ मेंस का लेना. इट्स नॉट दैट. वन अटेम्प्ट, सिंसियर अटेम्प्ट, focused preparation can make all the difference. Past baggages तो हर चीज में है. Like I was giving my student an example that there's a good possibility in today's time that we go into life in with multiple failed relationships, right? So when you plan to get married to a person, do you carry the emotional baggage that okay, my past or previous relationships or those boyfriends or those girlfriends did not work out for me, those relationships did not work out for me, so even this marriage is not going to work out for me? Yes, we do harbor the fear. But do you stop yourself from getting married? Do you tell your parents, do you tell your partner, that prospective partner, that see, because this thing has happened earlier, so maybe you're not a good choice for me, I'll not get married? No, you take that leap of faith, you get married, you of course have honest communication and conversations, you figure out that okay, maybe it's not always the partner or the opposite person was toxic. It could be that you also had you were at that point of time in your life where you were exhibiting toxic behavior. So will you carry that baggage of past failed relationships into the future? If you're doing that, then you're just preparing yourself for failure, and even the marriage won't work out. You need to be honest with yourself. You need to see why those past relationships failed. What was the factor? Was it part of you, part of that other person? Like what issues were happening? And I'm not just blaming your ex for that matter. I'm asking, like, putting the responsibility upon yourself also. Remember 100% responsibility. It's not just for exam, it's for your life also. It's for your relationships. If I have a very small social circle right now, the responsibility is upon me. It's because me, I could not keep in touch with other people, or I don't want to keep in touch with people जिनसे मेरा mental, mindset या मेरा, vibe और energy नहीं match करती है. I have taken responsibility. It's okay. I have a very small social circle, maybe one, two friends. That's okay. That too, they are long distance. Like, she lives in USA or, any other city for that matter. So in this way, you have to understand that you can always change the story, but you should have faith. And the moment you get a negative thought, change that negative thought to positive thought. Change that negative story to a positive story. That I can make a difference, but how to make a difference? Be practical, assess your preparation, and accordingly, change the mindset also. You have to work both ways. Okay, so just how we shouldn't be carrying the baggage of past failed relationships into the marriage, into the future. Similarly, don't carry that. Of course, I know it's easy to say, difficult to implement, but I'm giving you the implementing strategy. You need to push yourself. You need to always, sort of remind yourself that a negative thought is coming. I'll have a positive thought. The moment you start doing it on a regular basis, there will be a day where you feel more of confidence and less of fear. The fear will be there. See, it's human nature. There'll always be, that good wolf, bad wolf wali story suniya na. So the bad wolf will always try and overcome, over your mind and thoughts. But then with practice, you can make the good wolf stronger, the good voice, the angel voice in your mind, in your body stronger, which can overcome or overpower the bad wolf, right? So that is what needs to be done. Okay. And if you are aware that, yes, you have the potential to compete, so yes, you have the potential to compete. And I can tell you at this point of time, many students come and tell me, ask me that, ma'am, at this point of time, assessing our preparation, do you think it is possible we will qualify? And I'm like, and nobody will tell you at this point of time because how you approach the exam, what is your mindset during those 2 hours, how you have managed the entire day of the exam till your 4:30 CSAT jab आपका खत्म होता है, that is going to decide. Who am I to decide as a mentor? Yes, maybe something wrong you're doing. You have not done previous year questions. I can push you to and ask you to do previous year questions. You're not attending enough FLTs or enough mocks. I can push you for that. That okay, maybe not just one every weekend. Increase the frequency to two FLTs in a week or three FLTs, whatever is possible for you. So this is how what I can tell you. I can never put a stamp qualify, not probability of qualifying and probability of not qualifying. No, it doesn't happen like that. And nobody should do that, even not yourself. Because on that day, if by having, calm demeanor, having that peaceful state of mind, you can qualify the exam. Because UPSC always gives 4 to 5 questions which can be purely solved by logic and not knowledge. You're not supposed to know the actual technical knowledge about it or the actual concept about it, but simply by pure logic you can solve that question and you can get an advantage of 10 marks easily. 4 to 5 questions are always there. Is this it? But how will you identify those questions? When you have calm demeanor, when you're taking deep breaths. Whenever you start getting anxious, take deep breaths. Okay, so when you do that, it's going to help you. Okay, so this is what I'll suggest at this point of time. Now let's move on to the next question. जितने calculate किए थे उससे 3-4 marks कम है, but it hurts to see this marks and makes me fearful. I don't know whether question will come from what I studied or not, but still fighting. You need to understand the question will come from whatever you have studied. But how well you have studied and how well you have revised, that will ensure that how correctly you can attempt the question. Question तो आपके syllabus से ही आना है. वो 2-4 ही कुछ क्वेश्चन होते हैं जो आउट ऑफ द सिलेबस होते हैं या वियर्ड या रैंडम होते हैं, उनसे थोड़ी ना आपका कट ऑफ डिसाइड होता है. क्या वर्ल्ड टॉर्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से ही कट ऑफ डिसाइड हो रहा है? नहीं. So like I'm just because I'm obsessed with this question because I get whenever I discuss with any student this WTO वाला question always comes into discussion. So मेरे माइंड में ना हमेशा वही क्रॉस करता है. So what I'm trying to tell you is that the questions will be there from your syllabus, but how well you can attempt it, the revision, your calmness, your confidence on that day will help you. So you have to, yes, if you're still fighting, I applaud you. I'm very happy. I appreciate you for your courage. You have to keep fighting. Life is about fighting. Life is never about relaxing and daydreaming. If you want to achieve something in life, you have to keep on fighting. And trust me, you have to fight till your last breath on this planet. Okay. And I'm not saying that bare minimum fighting for that one roti, two roti, yeah, it's simple ghar. Fighting could be from any, perspective. Fighting for a job, for a promotion, for appraisal, for loved ones' attention. You have to keep on fighting. You have to keep on working hard towards it. Right. So that is good. Please keep on doing that. And I am here with you. I keep on, making those posts and everything. So keep an eye out on the channel at times so that you're on the track. Okay. And whatever basics I've recommended, please cover those basics. I'm sure you can qualify the exam. Okay. Or wo jo 3, 4, there's one more thing. I'm waiting for the answer key. But what is the aspect that I wanted to tell you that there is a possibility that UPSC might have dropped 1, 2 questions. Some students saying that maybe ma'am 3, 4 question, 5, 6 question drop kiya hoga. I don't think so. 5, 6 questions. 3, 4 is a good probability, but I don't think so 3, 4 be dropped kiya hai. It could be 1, 2 questions which they have dropped, which the coaching institutes have considered, and that is why there's a gap in the answers. And even for those questions which UPSC hasn't dropped, there could be that they have given a different answer from the coaching institutes, and that is their right. They are not doing something different. They are doing what their work is to do. The coaching institutes have been guessing that okay, no, this is the idea, this is the right answer from Google or from this journal and this that journal. UPSC doesn't operate like that. Let the answer key come, and then you will understand that why there's a gap. Okay, but this whatever gaps you have, it can be bridged. Tell yourself and be practical in your approach that how this gap can be bridged and you can bridge it. Okay. Now I'll just take up the last question. Feeling same might happen again, although I practice PYQs, mocks, division. Okay, I think I did cover that, right? Scattered notes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So these are the questions. And I think, yes, no question is left, right? Yes. SK, I already discussed that, what I'll do. So I hope you understand. Okay. And all the best, everyone. Thank you for your time. Wishing you all the best. More than the content and revision and this and that, please practice calming yourself, having that confidence, work on your confidence. Whenever you start getting negative thoughts, turn it into a positive story. Do something so that you tell yourself that I can do this. I have the things under control. And please, E plus R equal to O, right? External events पे control नहीं है. अभी light कट हुई थी, right? I don't have control. I prayed that it shouldn't get, but then it happened, right? So the response was what? I didn't need to panic. I have to accept now that, okay, the electricity went off. Similarly, if you get a difficult paper, you have to just do your best. Please don't start wondering about the cut off and मेरा बगल वाला क्या कर रहा है, मेरे सामने वाला क्या कर रहा है, मेरे parents क्या बोलेंगे. I have a student and he told me, he was very honest with me and he told me that, ma'am, during those 2 hours, rather than solving the question, I was solving the question. But the thoughts were going around my head that what will my family think? What will my elder brother think? अच्छा कट ऑफ कितना जाएगा पेपर तो इजी लग रहा है पेपर अच्छा ये क्वेश्चन तो अजीब सा है तो इसका क्या लाइक answer ho sakta hai, like will this decide the cutoff and like everything going in his mind rather than the focused approach to solving the question, and he was not able to qualify. Did he not have the content? He had content. He is a sincere student, I'm telling you. There was no lack of content and even lack of revision. But in those 2 hours, if you're worried about the external things rather than focusing on the paper and the question, of course you won't be able to qualify. So please, start working on this and how you can build this, start applying this strategy, start applying this over the mock FLTs that you get to practice. Because on that day, it shouldn't feel like that you're giving the paper for the first time. It should feel like that you've already given multiple papers and it's just another day. Don't take extra stress. Don't pressurize yourself with innumerable innumerous negative thoughts. Future में क्या होगा नहीं होगा. That's not something that we need to bother at this point of time. Your job, your duty is to study for next 24 days properly, practice FLTs, your revisions should go properly. And on that particular day, go with confidence, pray to your God, pray to whatever universe energy, whatever you believe in, and ask them for strength and courage and just focus on solving the questions on that particular 2 hours. Okay. All the best. I will plan one more session where maybe I'll discuss on the various issues related to prelims, maybe the other aspect, something of motivation or courage or, how to attempt the paper. I will be doing that. Maybe a very short session, not to take up your time. And post prelims, whoever is worried about mains, please don't get worried about prelims. Like at this point of time, we will tackle mains when the time is right. So it's always said now that to cross the bridge when you come to it. Right. Let the prelims happen, then we will worry about mains. That is it possible to do it in 70 days, 80 days or not? And I'm telling you it's possible. Please don't plan for future. The ones who plan for future, you're compromising, you're doing yourself a great disservice because you don't know the future, what's going to happen. क्या पता यूपीएससी एक साल बाद एग्जाम ही कंडक्ट करना बंद कर दे. Maybe they'll say we'll go for lateral, induction only. Who knows, right? Of course, ऐसा नहीं होता है, but I'm just telling you that don't plan for future तो अभी है भी नहीं. So plan for your 25 attempt, see what best you can do. And I'm sure you can bridge the gap. It's possible. But you need to be, of course, realistic in your plan, right? Realistic in your approach. Okay. So with that note, all the very best. Thank you for being with me for 2 hours. And I hope you got something. And if nothing, something, at least I hope it was a motivational boost for you all. So take care, everyone. Bye bye. And very, very all the best. Take care.